In the heart of a bustling city, Officer Helen Torres took pride in her unwavering commitment to the law. She had worked hard to earn her reputation as a dedicated police officer, known for her sharp instincts and ability to read people. Every day brought its own challenges, from managing traffic stops to dealing with the fallout of domestic disputes. Yet, on one particularly sweltering afternoon, she faced a situation that would change her life. While patrolling a busy street filled with tourists and locals, she noticed a man named Johnson slipping a wallet from a distracted visitor's pocket. In a split second, her training kicked in, and she acted. Tackling him to the ground, she felt a rush of adrenaline mixed with a strange sense of curiosity about him. As she handcuffed him, she wondered about the story behind his actions, feeling a connection beyond just the criminal act. When Helen brought Johnson into the precinct for questioning, their initial interactions were charged with tension. Johnson was a wiry man, and his quick, sarcastic remarks masked a deeper pain. As she began the interrogation, Helen couldn't help but notice the flicker of vulnerability in his eyes, something that set him apart from other criminals she had encountered. While she typically kept her emotions in check, something about Johnson's demeanor sparked her interest. As he recounted his life choices that led him to theft, Helen listened intently, starting to see the layers of his character. His story was one of hardship, growing up in an unstable home, where love was scarce and survival came at a high price. The more he spoke, the more Helen felt an unexpected connection, as if their worlds were colliding in a way that challenged her beliefs about right and wrong. During the interrogation, Helen uncovered Johnson's backstory, and it was a painful tale. He spoke of a childhood filled with neglect, where basic needs often went unmet. His family had been torn apart by addiction, leaving him to fend for himself on the streets. As he spoke, Helen could see the weight of his past etched on his face, a narrative of loss and struggle that resonated deeply with her. It became clear that Johnson was not just a petty thief, he was a product of his environment, shaped by circumstances beyond his control. This realization made Helen question her own assumptions about justice and morality. Their conversation shifted from the formalities of an interrogation to a more personal dialogue, exploring the gray areas of life where choices are made out of desperation rather than malice. In this unexpected exchange, Helen found herself captivated by the complexity of Johnson's character. Despite the professional boundaries that governed their interactions, Helen found herself drawn to Johnson's raw honesty. She was surprised by how quickly their rapport developed, as he opened up about his dreams and regrets. During his time in custody, they shared more than just casual conversations. They delved into deep discussions about life, art, and the human experience. Helen began to realize that beneath Johnson's tough exterior lay a sensitive soul yearning for understanding. He shared his aspirations to become an artist, revealing a passion for creativity that had been stifled by his circumstances. Helen, an art enthusiast herself, recognized the beauty in his dreams. Their friendship blossomed as they explored each other's perspectives, blurring the lines between officer and criminal. This unexpected bond challenged Helen's views about her role in the justice system and the possibility of redemption. As the days turned into weeks, Helen grappled with her growing feelings for Johnson. It was a confusing and conflicting experience for her. She was dedicated to her job and her role as a law enforcement officer, but she couldn't ignore the connection they had formed. The more time they spent together, the more she saw Johnson's potential to change. He was trying to better himself, seeking a way out of the cycle of crime that had trapped him for so long. Yet, she also felt the weight of her professional responsibilities pressing down on her. Would her colleagues understand the bond they had created? As rumors began to circulate around the precinct about her involvement with Johnson, Helen felt the pressure mounting. She was torn between her duty to uphold the law and her desire to help someone who had genuinely touched her heart. One rainy evening, the tension reached a peak when Johnson found himself in a precarious situation. After being released on probation, he struggled to navigate life outside of custody, unsure of his next steps. When he unexpectedly appeared outside the precinct, seeking her guidance, Helen felt a rush of protective instincts. The streets he once called home were still a pull on him, and she sensed the danger lurking just beneath the surface. They spent time together, discussing everything from job opportunities to art projects, creating a safe space for Johnson to express himself. But that night, fate intervened. Helen received a call about a theft in progress and rushed to the scene, only to find Johnson cornered by a rival gang that was trying to take advantage of his vulnerability. In that moment, Helen knew she had to choose between her role as an officer and her loyalty as a friend. As Helen approached Johnson, the air crackled with tension. He looked frightened, surrounded by aggressive figures who thrived on intimidation. "It's not what it looks like," he shouted, his voice trembling. The gang members eyed Helen warily, recognizing her as a police officer. But Helen was determined to stand by Johnson, to show him that he could make a different choice this time. "You don't have to do this, Johnson," she said firmly, stepping between him and the gang. "You can walk away." Her voice held a steadiness that echoed in the charged atmosphere, and in that moment, she hoped to convey the trust she had placed in him. Johnson hesitated, caught between the old habits that had once defined him and the possibility of a new path that Helen represented. It was a pivotal moment, one that would test the very fabric of their relationship. After the gang dispersed, Helen and Johnson found themselves alone, the weight of the encounter hanging heavy in the air. Both were breathing heavily, the adrenaline still coursing through their veins. As they stood in the quiet aftermath, Helen could see the conflict in Johnson's eyes. He had faced a choice, and he had chosen to walk away from the darkness. Their understanding deepened in that silence, transcending words. Helen realized that the line between law and trust was not just a matter of professional duty, it was a personal journey they were both navigating. Their bond had been tested, and it had emerged stronger. This experience solidified the notion that sometimes, the most important connections are forged in the most unexpected circumstances. They were no longer just officer and criminal, they were allies in a world filled with challenges. As Helen and Johnson continued to navigate the complexities of their relationship, they both learned invaluable lessons. Helen became an advocate for rehabilitation programs, using her position to help others like Johnson. She realized that the justice system often failed to recognize the underlying issues that led individuals to crime. Johnson, inspired by Helen's belief in him, began to channel his experiences into art, creating pieces that reflected his journey from despair to hope. His work resonated with many, capturing the struggles of those who felt invisible in society. Through their shared efforts, they both began to see the power of transformation, not just within themselves, but in their community. Their partnership became a beacon of possibility, showing that change was attainable, even in the face of adversity. Together, they began to dismantle the barriers between law enforcement and those they served. In the end, Helen and Johnson's relationship became a testament to the power of trust and understanding. They had navigated the intricate dance between law and personal connection, challenging societal norms along the way. Their journey was not just about romance, it was about healing, redemption, and the possibility of a brighter future. They both understood that the hardest battles are often fought within oneself, and that compassion can pave the way for change. Through their bond, they discovered that the shadows of their pasts could illuminate a path forward, one filled with hope and possibility. As they continued to support each other, They knew that together, they could create a new narrative, one that defied the boundaries of law and embraced the beauty of second chances.